When my workspace looks like a huge mess, that means we are almost finished with the rebuild project. So let's jump right into the DXP car with something you guys are gonna hate me for. See that bottle on the ground there, or that can I should say? This is the sort of stuff that you guys don't like, Bondo. So honestly, this is my first time personally using Bondo. As I've told you guys a lot in the past, I generally farm out body work when it comes to cars. I just am not that skilled with it. Now, a lot of people are against the use of Bondo. I think that's because they don't really understand it, or they've seen people use Bondo in an inappropriate way, like making an entire panel out of Bondo or filling in really big dents. I think body filler is totally fine as long as it's used appropriately. What we're going to be doing today is not what I would personally consider the most appropriate use of it, but after much deliberation and a little bit of, trial and error work and consulting with a friend of mine that works at a body shop, they recommended I use this Bondo, the fiberglass version. I guess it's a lot stronger than the standard Bondo. And let me show you exactly where I'm going to put it on this car and cue the I'm unsubbing because of Bondo comments down below. So right here is what is keeping us from putting the front end back on the DXP car. It's this little bit of damage you see where the ABS module usually sits. And this was obviously pushed in during the accident. It's almost folded in a little bit. Here's what that same area looks like on the donor car, and there's the ABS module. Of course, I took mine out so I could work on this area. Now I tried grabbing from under here and pulling out with a few different tools, vice grips and a hook, and come along. And this piece of metal is actually much stronger than I thought. It feels like two pieces of sheet metal kind of put together. Now, this isn't causing any sort of issue as far as where the strut mount goes. You can see that's all the way back here. It won't even mess with the alignment of the fender here. It just really is unsightly to me. Now you could try and put this on a frame machine. You could try and cut this corner out and weld it. Those are all timely and more expensive options. So what I've chosen to do is just fill this in. I know I'll probably get criticized for that, but I'm gonna fill everything here, make it look really nice. You can even see in here, I mean, these welds and these seams, they don't look perfect whenever you start to remove a lot of the parts from the engine bay. And we're gonna smooth it out as best we can. We'll paint it back the same white color, and then we're just gonna put our ABS module back, and we'll be able to put all the body panels back on the DXP car finally and finish this thing up. All right, so after about 2 layers and a lot of sanding, this is what we look like. It doesn't look very good on camera, but I imagine when we put the spot putty on top of this, which is the final layer, it will smooth things out. We do need probably 1 or 2 more smoothing layers of the fiberglass fill, so let's go with the next round now. Where our last unfinished layer of this Bondo looks like. Again, there is fiberglass reinforced, that's why it doesn't look smooth, and you see kind of those hairs in there. We're going to smooth it out, see how it looks, and if it needs it, we're going to do a little bit of finishing putty in any sort of little dips or holes, and then we're going to smooth it one more time. Let's hope that that looks somewhat decent when we're done. I could lay Bondo on this all day long. I don't think I'm going to get it perfectly uniform. At least it's smooth to the touch now. If anybody works on it, they're not going to cut themselves. All I'm going to do now is tape things off. I'm going to go ahead and primer it and then give it a quick coat of paint. Who would have thought John Gruden would get a $100 million contract to coach the Raiders? Anyway, we've got 2 coats of primer on this. Now we are moving on to paint. All right, still doesn't look the best, but that's about it. At least it's not rough, it matches, and it's all painted. And now we can finally do what I've wanted to do, is put all the body panels back. Oh, and of course that ABS module that goes there so car gets brakes again. So I ran out of daylight yesterday, but I kept working through it, and I was able to pretty much complete the front end. Everything looks and fits well and lines up really well. I really like how it came out. The color matches really well, and I mean, you see that these panels are popped out a little bit on the bottom. That's just because I haven't bolted them in down there. All the fender gaps and hood lines look really good given that it was a front end collision car. Now let me show you exactly what our earlier engine bay repair looked like with everything back together. Besides just not having in all the fasteners, everything's pretty much complete here, and you can see where our Bondo job is. It's definitely not my best work, but I think it will suffice, again, given how it's tucked down in the engine bay. And I don't think it will affect anything. The ABS module went back in place, so I'm pretty satisfied with how it turned out. When I first got the DXP car, I noticed that there was a little bit of gap here in the underside of the warming oven door. I thought that maybe the support bar that runs about right here on the inside was bent by people at the auction yard trying to yank this open. I actually found out that the lock mechanism, or the catch that's located right here, there's one up here and one down here. This one is broken, and that really needs to be tended to, and I'm really hoping that this is a part that I can get, because all of the special pieces on this car, and believe me, I've tried, we'll talk about that soon, are restricted parts. You can't get them unless you're a Domino's franchise owner. So we're going to try and undo some of the bolts that are fastening the warming oven door here, see how easy it comes out, and then we're going to find out whether that locking mechanism is just a generic piece or not. kind of concerned there for a second. You could see we've got the warming oven door on the floor completely removed. Well, I took out the bolts that we saw here, the ones on the bottom, the ones on the top, and then the ones on the side. The oven still didn't want to come out. We took the shock out that's underneath there that pops the door open and close. I don't think you can even see this on camera, but there's one right there, there's probably some up there, but there's screws behind the actual pillar of the car that I can't get to and unscrew, and I thought the whole door had to come off to get to that lock, and we were kind of concerned there. And finally, at the end, when you saw us lift the warming oven door downward, the final 2 bolts were able to come out and pop this frame out here. So we got the frame that's completely out, and now here is the culprit that's giving us the issue. It's this locking mechanism. Here's our broken piece. This is an electronic latch made by a company called Southco. A striker fits right in here and locks the warming oven door. When you hit a remote, it sends a signal to this and it opens it back up. Well, inside there on the latch itself, somebody completely snapped it in half. My assumption is by grabbing on the warming oven and just yanking on it as hard as they could. This piece cost 120 bucks, but the really good news is I was able to get one. I literally found one of these parts left at one Southco distributor in the entire country. I don't know if this is an old piece that they don't make anymore. Maybe there's a revised or new piece, but this is exactly what I wanted because I just wanted to plug and play. Now, once that warming oven is buttoned up, I bleed the brakes, put that rear bumper back on, of course, get it touched up, and really just fasten a few things here and there. That car is gonna be finished. I'm gonna take it in for inspection, get it road legal so I can take it to a shop and get the front end wrapped. Now, since those stickers are, again, restricted parts, I've talked to a couple of these wrap shops. They've told me that they should be able to replicate and recreate the original stickers that were on there. And of course, I kept all the original body panels, so they should be able to get a good picture of what was originally on there. And what really excites me is that once this car is finished, I'll be able to focus a little bit more time on the Corvette. And as long as the engine works in the Corvette, that car is almost finished as well. We're gonna have 2 awesome cars we got really, really cheap. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. Also, if you have any questions for me, as always, check out the description box below. There you'll find my personal email and my Instagram account. Guys, thanks a whole lot for watching, and I will catch you very soon.